Welcome to this explainer. Have you ever wondered why some organizations absolutely crush it and achieve incredible things, while others just completely fall apart? Well, the truth is, successful organizations aren't happy accidents. No way. They are carefully engineered. Today, we're going to unpack the solid foundation that holds up effective management. We're talking about three specific pillars: leadership, motivation, and communication.
Here is our roadmap for today. Number 1, the 3 management pillars. 2, leadership, guiding the team. 3, motivation, driving employee success. 4, connecting through effective communication. And 5, breaking down communication barriers. All right, let's dive right in.
Section 1. Leadership, guiding the team. This is really all about setting the direction and figuring out how a leader actually gets a diverse group of people moving together. Management theorists Kuntz and O'Donnell define leadership like this. They call it the art of influencing people so that they will strive willingly and enthusiastically toward the achievement of group goals. Now, I want you to notice those two absolutely crucial words right there: willingly and enthusiastically. True leadership isn't a dictatorship where you just bark orders at people. It's a dynamic influence process. It's about inspiring people so they genuinely want to achieve those shared goals.
So, how does that actually play out in the real world? Well, you've got a couple of primary styles. Take autocratic leadership, for instance. This is your centralized authority, strict supervision approach. It's fantastic for a sudden crisis when you need rapid-fire decisions. But honestly, it's a fast track to tanking your team's morale. Contrast that with democratic leadership. This relies heavily on shared decision-making and two-way communication. Sure, it can definitely be more time-consuming, but it builds way better long-term employee satisfaction and ultimately much higher decision quality.
And we can't forget the third style, laissez-faire, or the free-rein approach. This gives employees near-complete freedom with minimum supervision and really high autonomy. If you have a highly skilled team of absolute top-tier specialists, this style is a real game-changer for unlocking massive creativity. But word of caution, without careful coordination, this can easily descend into total chaos.
Now, you might be wondering, where do these styles even come from? Historically, people leaned heavily on trait theory. That's that old school idea that, you're simply born a leader with natural intelligence and self-confidence. But that completely ignores the reality of being in the trenches. That's why situational theory is so fascinating. It proves that there is literally no single style that works everywhere. The very best leaders constantly adapt to their environment, the specific task at hand, and the unique needs of their employees.
Okay, moving to section 2. Motivation, driving employee success. Because once a leader points the way, how do they actually fuel the engine to get people taking action? Think of motivation as the psychological engine of a company. It's the process of stimulating individuals to take action and hit those desired goals. It's that vital inner drive. When you get this right, overall productivity and innovation skyrocket, while absenteeism and turnover totally drop off. It is literally what builds that incredible team spirit we all want. To figure out how to trigger that drive, we look at Abraham Maslow's famous need hierarchy. For managers, the big takeaway here is entirely sequential. Think of it like climbing a ladder. You really cannot expect a team member to chase self-actualization and personal growth if they're constantly stressing out about safety needs, like job security, or basic physiological needs, like earning a living wage. You absolutely have to build that solid foundation first before striving for the peak. But then Frederick Herzberg comes along and adds this brilliant twist with his two-factor theory. Check out this divide. Paying someone a fair salary or offering job security, those are actually just hygiene factors. They don't create motivation, they just prevent mutiny and dissatisfaction. To get genuine fire-in-the-belly motivation, you have to unlock the growth factors, the motivators. We're talking about real achievement, recognition, and genuinely challenging work. When we synthesize these two theories, a complete managerial toolkit really emerges. Maslow gives us the broad progression of human needs with his 5 levels, while Herzberg cuts right to the practicalities of workplace job satisfaction using his 2 categories. Maslow shows us that fulfilling basic needs drive people, and Herzberg clarifies that we have to separate basic maintenance from the actual motivating factors. Together, they explain the whole shebang of what drives your team. All right, section 3, connecting through effective communication. We've got the leadership, we've got the motivation, now we need the glue that keeps them totally aligned.
Communication is essentially the process of exchanging information, ideas, opinions, and feelings between people to achieve mutual understanding. And let's be clear, communication is not just sending out a one-off corporate memo. It's a continuous two-way loop. It is absolutely essential for mapping out complex plans and, honestly, for killing workplace conflicts before they even have a chance to start.
Let's trace how an idea actually flows. It starts with the sender, gets encoded into words, forms a message, and travels through a medium, like an email or a meeting. Then it's decoded by the receiver, and it loops all the way back via feedback. But look at step 8 down there, noise. That is the disruption that derails the entire thing. Any tiny disturbance in this 8-step process can totally ruin the understanding.
Which brings us to section 4, breaking down communication barriers. It's time to talk about the villains of our story. There are basically 6 main barriers that completely assassinate our messages. First, physical barriers like a terrible Wi-Fi connection or loud background noise. Semantic barriers, which is when we bury each other in confusing corporate jargon. We've also got psychological barriers fueled by fear or stress. Organizational red tape with super long chains of command. Personal barriers, like poor listening habits where people just wait for their turn to talk. And cultural disconnects involving different social customs or languages. Fortunately, we can actually defeat these. The most powerful levers you can pull: ruthlessly simplifying your language to cut out ambiguity, actively inviting feedback, and actually working on your listening skills. I'm telling you, these are the fastest, most effective ways to bypass the noise, build immediate trust, and create a truly open, dynamic communication environment.
Let's do a quick rapid-fire recap to lock this framework in. Your organizational foundation rests on 3 main forces. First, adaptable leadership to set the direction using the right style for the situation. Second, targeted motivation to fulfill essential human needs and trigger those crucial growth factors. And third, clear communication to bypass the noise, ensuring the exchange of ideas stays open and the whole team stays connected.
As we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with a bit of a challenge. Take a hard look at your own workplace dynamics this week. Based on the 3 pillars we just covered, which leadership style do you naturally default to? And what specific communication barrier is quietly holding your team back right now? Take these frameworks and start purposefully building your own foundation for success. Thanks for exploring this with me today.